So I do want to talk about the newest professional team in St. Louis, and that is, of course, St. Louis FC or SC,
Hmm.
I believe it is. Uh,
St. Louis City FC.
St.
Yes.
Louis City FC. These MLS
Or
names just kind of
yeah. Or I'm
they
sorry.
trip me up.
Yeah. SC. Right.
Yeah.
We.
So it's either sometimes they go FC, sometimes they go SC. So I
Hmm.
always get tripped up. So St. Louis is often called the birthplace of American soccer.
Hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about why that is the case?
Uh, I think that's very accurate, and it goes all the way back to the 40s, where we had club teams that were elite. And one of the most elite teams was sponsored by a funeral home, cutest funeral home of all people, sponsored this club team. And then in 1950, they called it the Miracle on Grass. The U.S. goes down to Brazil and beats England 1-0, and we had about as we I say we the United States had about as much chance of winning that game as the hockey team did of beating the Soviet Union in 1980. And there were 8 American-born players on that team. 5 of them were from St. Louis, and they were from one neighborhood in St. Louis, the Hill. And a lot of them played on that cutest team, the amateur team, which toured the country. The cutest team ended up, they won the National Cup once, they won the Amateur Cup 7 times. And then in 1958, the U.S. Soccer Federation said, you know what, cutest, we're just going to put a couple other guys on your team. Why don't you guys just go qualify us for the World Cup? So they went in and they won a couple World Cup qualifying games. They were that good. And the St. Louis Billikens, the soccer team, 10 national championships for the local university soccer team. And then they had 49 appearances. So between the amateur, between the NCAA team, and the high school teams dominate the state. I mean, in terms of producing players, and you've got people like Taylor Twellman and Becky Sauerbrunn and certainly Harry Keogh's out of here, and Brad Davis, and just so many players that have come out of here, out of St. Louis. It's amazing. It's a hotbed of soccer, and the fact that it's taken MLS so long.
That was my next
To get
question
it.
is why. Why
Yeah,
did it take
we
so
don't
long?
understand. We were blown away that Kansas City got a team so far ahead of us, and but
I think
they
Kansas City was an original franchise in the
yeah.
90s, right? They were the Wizards back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Wizards, which became the Wiz, and okay. But when we got a team, they did it right. The stadium just in the past 3 weeks was named the best sports stadium in the world, believe it or not. And the Carolyn Kendall came in. She's with the Taylor family that owns Enterprise Rent-A-Car. The food at the stadium is all local restaurants. It's not like they went to some stadium services company. So it's like very well-known, beloved local restaurants that have all of the food and beverage around the stadium. And they picked a location in West downtown that is surrounded by hotels and bars. And it's like another little city festival every game day. My wife and I have season tickets. All of our friends go. Just a great day. And the team plays well, too. And there was one point where uh, I went down. It was during a game, and I was at a certain angle, and I just looked down at the field, and I looked at a corner, and I'm like, "This looks like a Premier League stadium."
Mm.
They did such a great job on the stadium, and we've got the St. Louligans, one of the great support groups, one of the great fan groups, with the drums and the entrance, and it's an electric atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, my next question was, have they reinvigorated the interest in soccer? But you've kind of answered that on your own.
Oh yeah. I don't know if there has been a game that wasn't that did not sell out. It's been like one or two, and it probably had to do with the fact it was like 98 or 100 degrees or something.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
much every
familiar
game
with.
sells out.
Yeah, I was in St. Louis in the summer. I can imagine it's not the most pleasant atmosphere while the sun is still up, at least. Uh, so, but before we move on to the other sports, I'm really curious as to why St. Louis in particular was such a hotbed, or is such a hotbed for soccer? What were some of the factors that started this and led to this?
I'd go back to the beginning. I would go back to the Hill, which it's a neighborhood in St. Louis, and it had a lot of Italian and Sicilian immigrants that came over, and that was a very active sports neighborhood. Joe Garagiola and Yogi Berra grew up there. So all kinds of sports, but soccer really took hold there, and like success bred success. So once you had those cutest teams, all of a sudden people grew up seeing that success and wanted to play soccer. And then all of a sudden you had the St. Louis University teams seeing great success. Okay, the kids that went to high school knew the kids that played soccer. So it just grew and kept growing and kept growing. And then to this day, now St. Louis City has had two players from St. Louis on the team already, including one of them that's already there. So it's just going to continue, and you've got guys like Pat McBride passed away this past week, unfortunately, and he was probably one of the one of the absolute legends in St. Louis soccer. He played and coached here, and people like him just kind of carried the tradition forward. There are people that carry the torch from one generation to the next, and so it's strong, and I think it will be for a long time, especially with City here now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, I'm glad MLS finally got their act together
Yes.
and put a team there because clearly it was a market that was calling for it and has treated the team, with the appropriate level of attention and respect and love and all that.
Hmm.
So